What's happening, people? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what it is. Big up to everyone locked in on this, I would say, wonderful Saturday afternoon, but it's not really a wonderful Saturday. Big up to everyone. Listen, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe, and be sure to get involved in the conversations in the chat. Boy, do we have a lot to talk about. 12:30 kickoffs. I hate it. I always tell you lot, I don't like 12:30 kickoffs, and today is further proof as to why I don't like it. Manchester United found themselves a goal down, managed to get one back, and just ended up, I don't even know, the end of that game, it just didn't make sense. United had no control in the second half, but one outstanding, I would say, stat, and when I say outstanding, not in a good way, in a bad way, is that Erik ten Hag has now lost 4 out of 5 fixtures against Brighton in the league since joining Manchester United. The only win against Brighton coming at the latter stages of last season when United won 2-0 at the Amex. Some context, of course, some context. So big up to everyone. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Big up to Aminor with the super chat before the stream even started. Said, Mina, why did Mount go off? We should have won that. Listen, there's so many things I'm trying to make sense of. So hopefully you lot in the chat can help me make sense of some of these stuff. Because I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm struggling to understand quite a few stuff. I know why Mount went off, because United in behind without a centre forward, it just looked like there was no point in all that build-up because there was no one making him runs behind. However, I think it's becoming quite obvious that Manchester United need to find a way, or Erik ten Hag and the coaching staff need to find a way to incorporate Mason Mount into a game and have a centre forward. Now, what should we start with? What should we actually start with? I'll start with the positives. Amad Diallo gets his second ever Premier League goal for Manchester United, his first of the season, especially after he announced yesterday the passing of his stepmother, also the person who raised him, and also was the mother of his siblings and the current wife of his father. So he referred to her as his mother, which I understand. In my faith, we say, condolences to him. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He got a goal. You saw his celebration, but you could also see, can I say, during the game, he didn't look like he was in it. The things that I would see him do historically, or maybe in preseason, and even when I've watched him play, he just struggled with the simple fundamentals and the simple basics. It took him a bit of time to get into the game. He eventually did with the goal. I think when he created that chance, I was screaming for him to cut in on his left and shoot, and that's exactly what he did. They did give the goal to him. It looked like it was going in. It looked like it was going bottom corner, so I understand why the goal was given to him. It took a heavy deflection, of course, but really that is a good positive to take from the game. But you know what we're going to start with, guys? We are going to start with the first goal. We're going to start with the... I don't have the first goal. I got the second goal here, but this guy here, Harry Maguire. Now, I'm not here to pile on to Harry Maguire, but I do have some criticism for the first goal. The first goal, the error came from Harry Maguire. And you lot, excuse me, cannot tell me otherwise. A ball in from João Pedro looked like a very non-threatening goal. It looked like a very non-threatening goal, or even a non-threatening chance. João Pedro put a ball in. It was an in-swinger with his right foot, and the ball just passes. Harry Maguire bounces next to him, and it's like he just let it pass him. Mazraoui doesn't move for it. Him and Mazraoui, by the way, the space between them is very, very minimal. There's minimal space between them. And as a result, can I say, when there's minimal space between your fullback and your centre-back, the winger that you're marking is going to have heaps of space. And that's what happened with Matoma. Matoma had heaps of space to put a ball back in. Danny Welbeck unmarked in the box. When I saw before the game, they said it was he's got 99 career goals. I said it's just written today. It's just written today for Man United to give him his 100th goal. And that's what happened. Man United fell asleep defensively. And sometimes I feel like the communication between the two centre-backs in particular is not there. I feel like it's not there. And no disrespect, by the way, to Harry Maguire, because I feel like Fulham, he had a good game. Maybe Matheus de Ligt is getting into match fitness, a guy that didn't really have much of a pre-season. But I don't know. Defensively, I just felt like today Harry Maguire was more prone to errors than what he usually is. And when I'm saying what he usually is, we've seen good performances from him. And this is not a pylon, by the way. I don't want to single him out, because I've got individuals that I definitely think can be criticized throughout today's game. But I'm just speaking on that particular goal. Let me see what you lot are saying, by the way. Big up to Ridwan in the chat, says the defending today with the eyes emoji. Big up to Show, says start Maguire ahead of Delit. He was sensational against Fulham. I personally, guys, I don't think that this lineup should have started. Can we start with the starting lineup? Should we start with the start? Let me bring it up. Let me bring up the starting lineup on the screen, because I didn't like the starting lineup. Just because it worked in the first game doesn't mean that you need to go with it again. This was the starting lineup, guys, for Manchester United today. Completely unchanged from the Fulham fixture. Now, the reason why I'm saying that I wouldn't have started with this is because, guys, this is going to lead to the conversation about Mason Mount, because I think a big conversation about today is about how does Manchester United fit Mason Mount into a team that clearly, when it requires pressing, when it requires legs in the midfield, when it requires people to cut off the passing lanes, to run, to chase, etc., without Mason Mount, it seems like everybody else is deficient. It seems like everybody else cannot do it, and it doesn't make any sense, because if you're going to play Mason Mount, you're going to have to succumb to leaving out a centre forward. And this is football, guys. Football is about goals. It's about results. And yes, I agree with Mason Mount playing, but how do you fit a striker in with Mason Mount? Personally, today, I'm not going to lie. When I saw Mason Mount coming off in the second half, I was a bit questionable. I was like, why? If I was going to take anyone off, I would have taken off Marcus Rashford. I would have taken off. Marcus Rashford would have been the first person I would have taken off, because Marcus Rashford, for me, he even looks like, and this is, guys, you lot know me. You lot keep telling me stop backing Marcus Rashford. And if this is coming from me, you know that there's questions and you know that there's concern, because I watched Marcus Rashford today look hesitant to press, look hesitant to close a man down, look hesitant to drop back to support Dallo against Minter. He looked hesitant to do anything. He looks like he's playing, forget confidence, forget even questioning Marcus Rashford's confidence right now. He looks uninspiring, completely uninspiring. Even when he's making him runs behind, bro cannot stay onside. He cannot. There was so many chances that there was a moment in the first half, can I say, yeah, where Mount was pressing, Bruno was pressing. All it required, a ball went back to the keeper. Mount is trying to close a passing lane to the centre back. Bruno is trying to close down the other centre back, so there's no option. Why can you not just run and press the keeper? Apply pressure. Apply pressure. And it's not even just in the manner in which Marcus Rashford does it. It's more so, for me, it's the nonchalantness. Body language says a lot. We can't hear what is being said on the pitch, but I can see. We all have eyes, guys. We can see the body language from Marcus Rashford. And the body language, to me, is a guy that's low on confidence, a guy that's low on self-belief, a guy that looks like he's being inconvenienced when you're telling him to track back or defend or close the passing lanes or press. He looks like it's like the instructions is inconveniencing him, because he doesn't want to do that. And at that point, I'm thinking, how do you save someone like that? How do you save someone like that? And that is the biggest question mark I have, honestly, about Marcus Rashford. Let me actually bring him up here on the screen. I think I got a picture here. You see the interview that he did, guys. Back, when was this? I think it was like March. He did this interview with Players Tribune, and he said, "If you back me, good. If you doubt me, even better." This was at a point where it was possibly a horrible time in the season for him. He was doing so bad, and had I watched today's game and the decision was up to me onto who to take off at second half, because you need a centre forward, you need a target man, I would not have taken off Mason Mount. Honestly, I would not have taken off Mason Mount. But this is where the questions have to be asked. How do you fit a man in like Mason Mount into a team where it's clearly evident that you need him? And can I just say, let's talk about the first half, let's talk about the first half. Brighton was pushed back a lot. They were on the back foot a lot. I think United, if I was to take positives away from today's game, in the first half, there were so many positives. Until United conceded the goal, United were the more comfortable team. Brighton looked uncomfortable in possession. They looked disrupted in possession, because that's what a good and contingent press does. That's what, and you guys can say pressing is not off a game plan, or it's not a style of play. Getting the press right out of possession is equally as important as an attack. It's equally as important, because when you get a press right, you disrupt the opponent. You make them uncomfortable. They were putting passes all over the place. They were pressured. They were nervous. They were shaky. And I'm not going to say it was solely on Mason Mount, by the way. I'm not saying it's solely on Mason Mount that was causing that, because you could see it was a very, it was a united press. Ahmad was pressing. Rashford, to an extent, was pressing. Definitely not as near as everyone else. Kobe pressing, closing the passing lanes. Casemiro, I think, had a decent game. Bruno Fernandes also pressing. The two at the front, Mount and Bruno, got the press right to kind of disrupt the opponent. But my issue with United, and can I just say also another thing, is in possession in the first half, United looked a lot more comfortable than what I'm used to. If you lot take it back last season, guys, if you take it back to last season, there was times where United would have the ball and they don't know how they're going to get out of their own half. You don't know how they're going to get out of their own half. It's unconvincing. It's unconventional. It's nerve-wracking. But today, in the first half, it didn't look like that. It looked like United were a lot more comfortable on the ball, a lot more able to get out of the opponent's press, and weren't threatened by someone closing them down, etc., etc. It's the second half for me that was just a completely different performance, like completely different. Ridwan says Manchester United are now winless in their last 14 Premier League away games, in which they've conceded first. They've drawn twice and lost 12. Damn. Mina, I don't understand why they can't see it. We should have cashed in on Rashi the season after he scored those 30 goals. He managed to get a new contract. If you told me this was a game last season, I would have believed you. I don't know what it is. It seems like there's something between Erik ten Hag and Brighton. That's just not working. It's just not working. I don't know what it is. Big up to Show says, Mina, this is why the last time he did a statement and you defended him, I said, I'm sick of him talking all the time and not producing on the pitch. No, I hear it. I completely hear that. Let me see what else you lot are saying in the chat. Rashford just doesn't care. He hardly tries to press. I just feel like when Marcus Rashford is asked to press or he's asked to defend, he looks like he's playing like we're inconveniencing him to do that. And to me, that's just not good. That's not a good look. That is really, really not a good look. Let's talk about this. Bro, I can't believe this is how United conceded. I cannot believe this is how United conceded. Just look at that. Everybody in Manchester United's team, everybody in Man United's team is in that one circle. They are in that one. There's 11, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's two people missing. Look at that, guys. This is that's a joke. That is actually a joke. And one thing I have, and I'm really hoping this set piece coach that United have hired is not only from United scoring set pieces, but also United defending set pieces, because the reset after a clearance out from a set piece is horrible. That reset button, when United press the reset button after clearing out a set piece, it's so bad. Tell me why. I can see Dallo, I can see Licha, I can see Mazraoui there. Why? Why are both fullbacks there? Diogo Dallo, why are you so out of position? When my thought process is, right, when there's a ball into the ball, when it's a set piece, etc., as soon as you get the ball out, or the team that are attacking have kind of reset outside of the box, defenders need to get into their back four. They need to at least create their back four. Because why? Guys, this picture is actually quite flattering, because it's only showing João Pedro unmarked at the back post. How about we look at this? How about we look at this picture? This is the real picture. The one that I was showing you lot before is only showing João Pedro in the shot. This here is showing 3 guys completely unmarked at the back post. That's as soon as Adingra put that ball in, yeah. And by the way, when the ball landed to Adingra, before he even took it onto his right foot to put a ball in, João Pedro was waving. He was literally waving him down, saying, "Look at me, I'm unmarked, I'm unmarked." And Adingra put an inch perfect pass onto João Pedro's head. Unmarked. 3 guys unmarked. I'm sorry, but that is absolutely unacceptable. That is unacceptable. 1 guy unmarked, I'll be like, okay, cool. Maybe he just slipped in back post. 3 guys unmarked. If the ball doesn't land to João Pedro, it's landing to someone else. Either way, they're scoring. Either way, they would be scoring from that chance. And this is, if we try to sit here, guys, and make sense about all of this. I know it's called Mina's state of mind. My state of mind right now is chaotic. It's chaotic right now, my state of mind. If we sit here trying to make sense of it all, I don't think we'll be able to. I really don't think we'll be able to. Because for me, the second half just looked like it was a reset to United last season. Chaotic chaotic, counter-attacking, defensive mishaps, worrying in possession. And this is what confused me the most. Big up to Love Rain with the super chat. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It says, Mina, please answer my question. Taking off our best player, Bruno, for McTominay, a good idea. Why is Ten Hag protecting Rashi? Bruno deserves better. You know what, Love Rain? Thank you for the super chat, because you actually led me to the next part that we're actually going to talk about, is obviously Bruno Fernandes coming off. When I saw that substitution, and thank you for the super chat, by the way, I really appreciate it. This was probably one of the most questionable things for me. This was arguably one of the most questionable decisions for me. Ahmad coming off, I understood, because for me, Ahmad looked, aside from his goal, you could see his gameplay today was erratic. It was emotional, and you can see it, right? And I totally understand that, by the way. I totally understand that. I'm not going to say I give him a complete kind of leeway for it, but I kind of do, because, you know, guys, death is no joke, right? But taking off Bruno for Scott McTominay, you're telling, hold on, let's make sense of this, guys. Let's actually make sense. Let's make sense of this, yeah? Please. Manchester United's second half, take off Mason Mount, lose control of the midfield. You're 1-1, and the solution is when the midfield's out of control. The midfield's out of control, and it's 1-1. The solution is, let's take off Bruno Fernandes. What? How does that make sense? How on earth does that make sense? Scott McTominay came on and did one nice little turn. Like, Steffi coming through with the love is blind. Like Ollie after Debbie said no. Honestly, I'm like, what? No, honestly, that moment in Love is Blind was funny. Thank you, Steffi, for saying that. Thank you. That made me laugh. Honestly, though, that to me made zero sense. If Bruno came off instead of Mount, I would understand. But to take him off for Scott is mind-blowing. 100%. To take off Mount and Bruno, not only do you lose the press, you lose control of the midfield in a game that is already erratic in the second half for United because it's already disrupted. I'm trying to make sense of all the changes. What other substitutions? Let me look at the other substitutions that came today. So Joshua Zirkzee came on obviously the beginning of the second half. Alejandro Garnacho came on in the 65th minute, and then De Ligt and Scott McTominay came on in the 79th minute, and then Anthony eventually came on just before extra time. For me, guys, I'm being dead honest. It made zero sense. Like, I still cannot wrap my head around that. And I just know I'm going to be seeing some absolute mad comments in the post-match press conference because, and I'm saying this because Jadon Sancho was left out of the squad today, right? And I'm not saying this is a game for Jadon Sancho, like he could have made a difference, etc. I'm not saying any of that. But what I want to know is, surely he can't be that bad in training that he cannot be an outlet off the bench for the wide angles of the game. Like, United was so adamant, or Erik Ten Hag in particular is so adamant to play this false nine. Because the way that I see what Erik Ten Hag does, yeah, is if it works, we stick to it. It worked against Fulham, we stuck to it. This is not a game that you need to stick to that. The biggest issue for me, can I say, is trying to find a way to incorporate Mason Mount into this team. and then incorporate a guy like Xerxes. And can I say, it's marginal stuff, guys. Today's game, some moments in the game I felt like was very, very marginal moments in terms of anything different happens and it's a completely different result. Joshua Zexi doesn't slide into the net. I can't fault him for that. He couldn't stop himself. But if that doesn't happen, 2-1. It's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. You don't take your captain off when you're tired. That's dumb. Honestly, for me, I just can't make sense of it. I'm trying my best to make sense of it, and I just can't. I just can't make sense of it. And you guys know what time it is, of course. Post-match comments from Eric Ten Hag. Let's bring it up on this. Let me bring up Eric Ten Hag here. On the screen. You lot know I like a good graphic. I like a good graphic. So let's bring up Eric Ten Hag whilst we talk about the post-match comments from the manager. He said about the game. Where should we start from? Sure, it was very disappointing, especially when you, over long paths in the game, are in control. We are controlling the game in possession, and we are doing so well. And yeah, we got 2 unnecessary goals, i.e., we conceded 2 unnecessary goals. He then goes on to say, we conceded 2 soft goals where we should act better as a team. If you protect the goal like we do and then you drop points, and football talks to us about details, as I always say. So we have to do better in such occasions. He then went on to say, before halftime, we created chances. We had a good chance. The best chance of the half that came from Ahmad and was from the cross of Diogo. And also after that, Mason Mount had very good chances. I think before halftime, we had 3-4 good opportunities. And from there, we had 2 very good chances. We should be winning at half time. That's what he said post game. Of course, this is him talking to the television. We will really know the extent of his answers when he does his press conference post match. And I know for a fact, by the way, can I just say, I know for sure his post match press conference, the first question is going to be about Jadon Sancho, because these journalists got no life, and that's all they're going to ask about every single time. Instead of asking relevant questions, why did you take off Bruno for Scott McTominay? Is he injured? Is there something that we didn't know for Bruno to come off? Is there a reason why De Ligt has not started since he joined the team? I assume it's because of match fitness. That's my assumption, so I'm going to stick with that. But what was the choice what's the reasoning in the choice of having Zexi coming off the bench? What is the choice? Ipswich just scored. They're 1-0 up against City. Let's not get too excited. Yeah, let's not get too excited. Who scored for Ipswich though? Who scored? Oh, I just saw who scored for them. Maybe that will make the day a little bit better. Maybe that will make the day a little bit better if Man City lose. It won't make it any better, but shit, I nearly choked on my water. Let me see what you lot are saying in the chat. Terrence says, told people yesterday, 2-1 United, Welbeck to score. Listen, when I saw that stat for Welbeck, 99 goals, 99 career goals, I knew what was written. Big up We Deserve Better says, I'm tired already. We can't finish our lunch. Again, 2 goals in 2 matches scored. Honestly, we're back to 0 goal difference. We are back to 0 goal difference. What I don't really get though, and maybe... should Garnacho be starting ahead of Marcus Rashford? Has Garnacho warranted enough? I don't know how Garnacho went from being a starter last season, and can I say starting like nearly 40-something games in a row. He went from being a starter to going back to the role that he had in his first season under Eric Ten Hag. How does that make sense? That's regressing. In my opinion, that's regressing. Marcus Rashford for me today, and you know what's so funny? I'm gonna say this now and be like, he's Marcus Rashford playing poor, but would you start him against Liverpool? Would you start Marcus Rashford against Liverpool, given his record against the top 6? Given his record against top 6, would you start Marcus Rashford? Damn, that is a crazy picture. That's too zoomed in. Would you start Marcus Rashford against Liverpool next weekend? Because I don't know how to feel about it. I really don't know how to feel about it. I'm thinking about Rashford up against someone like Trent, who's more likely to come out on top in that battle. And I do think I do think out of the two of them, I think Garnacho might stand a better chance. Just when you think about, I think confidence is a big part that comes into the game. Confidence is a big part. Marcus Rashford today, you can tell he is absolutely not a player that's got confidence. And Garnacho is a player that has confidence. So I don't know why he's not starting. And you know what's funny? I think Eric Ten Hag might turn around, yeah, and drop Ahmad next game. I really think that he would actually do that. Let me see. Start Garnacho and Ahmad. All of you lot saying he needs bench. All of you lot saying nope. I feel we were in the game, but once the second goal was taken away, we threw in the towel. I don't even think it's the second goal that was the issue, guys. I really don't think. I feel like, and I said this, coming into the season, can I say, one thing I wanted to see different from last season, I wanted to see when Manchester United go a goal down in a game, I wanted to see for them to still have control in the game, for them to not, heads go down and shoulders drop and suddenly it's like, woe is me and all of that kind of stuff. I feel like when United conceded the first goal, 15 minutes until the second half, I was dying for the halftime whistle. And it looked like that's what happened to United. They went from being comfortable in possession, being confident, when being pressed by the opponent. They went from confidence to none within a minute of conceding. And suddenly, obviously, it's football. Momentum shifts. Football is sometimes about momentum, and the momentum shifted to Brighton in that 32nd minute of the game after they scored. And suddenly United looked shaky. Suddenly they looked, uncomfortable when being pressed by the opponents. Suddenly they looked like they couldn't string along possible potential passes that can get them out of their half. It looked ridiculous. It looks ridiculous. And that's what I said coming into the season, that I wanted to see less of, because that was United's biggest problem last season. But this game just showed how easy it is to regress to last season, mentality wise. We talk about mentality a lot, but today's game showed how easy it was to regress back to that kind of state of mind so comfortably, so easily after going one goal down. And someone says it here, where were the leaders today? Non-existent. You don't even need leaders per se. You just need people to be confident in the fact that they can come back from that goal. And arguably, I'm saying that it's a goal that should have never been conceded. It should never. Danny Welbeck should never have got the second chance to get to that ball, because the initial ball came in from João Pedro on Dallow's side. City already equalized. That was fun while it lasted. But the initial ball from João Pedro came in to Harry Maguire and Mazraoui with barely any space between them. So between the two of them, they should be able to deal with it. But I think Mazraoui assumed that Maguire was dealing with it. And it literally fell onto Maguire's left-hand side. And not a clearance, not a look over the shoulder, nothing. Neither of them communicate to each other. It lands to Matoma. He cuts back onto his foot, puts another ball just straight across the box. And that's what United, can I say, struggle with in general when it comes to crosses. Cutbacks and balls straight across. They can't deal with it. They cannot deal with it. How is that still a repeat when we've brought in new defenders? And this is why I go back to this is why I go back and say I really need to know why De Ligt is not yet starting for United. I need to know that. It has to be fitness related, because you cannot tell me that Maguire is the better option for De Ligt. You can't tell me that. You can't. And I'm really hoping the journalist asks that Mount has an injury apparently. What? Where are you seeing that? Where are you seeing that Mason Mount got an injury? If you can link me to it. Let me see if there's any quotes. Oh shit. Let me see if there's any quotes post-match out yet about the players. Who's the best person to go and check with? Yeah, apparently Mason Mount's injured. What? Hold on, let me see the exact. Okay, so So apparently, yeah, him coming off. So apparently Mason Mount coming off was a precautionary move based on previous injuries. And Eric Ten Hag said that it was a decision. He's had some problems and he had an issue. So we know the history of Mason Mount. So that's why they took him off. But I just don't. Oh my God, we're back at square one, guys. We are back at square one. We are really back at square one again. So Tottenham are winning 1-0. City are winning. Yeah. I I don't want to dwell on this game too much. Is there any positives, can I say, guys? Is there any positives from today's game? Do you guys feel like there's any positives? Can you guys tell me if there's any positives to today's game? Let me try be positive and try think of some positives. First half United looked good. But that's really all I can say in the positives. It's nice to see Ahmad getting on the score sheet. Casemiro looked good today. Casemiro looked good. Let's talk Kobe, guys. What is 3-1? Are you not saying it's 3-1 to City already after they were just 1-0 up? After they were just losing 1-0. Now it's 3-1. What the hell is going on? What the hell is going on? What did you guys make of? We actually haven't spoken about him. Kobe Mainoo. I think today further proved to me, actually. Let's talk about this. Because obviously United are linked to Ugarte. This deal for Ugarte might get sped up. United might sign him a lot quicker. But today proved to me United need an orchestrator in the midfield. And when I say orchestrator, I'm not talking about a 10. They need someone that's good on the ball, deeper in midfield. Honestly, for me, getting Ugarte in is nice. That's good. That provides some depth as well. Casemiro and Ugarte. But United need, and this is why, by the way, I was all for Zubimendi, can I say? I was all for the idea of Zubimendi. Obviously, we know he's not leaving Sociedad. But when there was talk about him potentially leaving, and there was 3-4 midfielders United were linked to, and he was one of them, this is why I kept saying that he was on the top of my list. Because today's game, Fulham last week, is further proof that United need an orchestrator. They need someone to pull the strings in midfield. You look at how many times today, I think, hypothetically speaking, right? If we have someone running in behind, if you got Ahmad making a run in, you got Rashford making a run in, whoever's making a run in behind, right? From deep, we have to try and get the ball all the way to Bruno, who can then eventually play that pass. And even then, it's not guaranteed that pass is being played immediately. There's no guarantee. If you've got someone from in that deeper role, the 6 to 8, whatever you want to call it, people put numbers on it, but for me, it's just someone who's good at passing deep. Kobe for me is not a 6. Kobe Mainoo is not a 6. I would say, can I say he's an 8.5? Seeing as we like to call players something and a half, he's an 8/10. For me, things that Kobe does well. Kobe's well at driving forward with the ball. There's one thing that he does very well. For a player who's not that big, he uses his arm to create space from the defender to drive the ball forward, right? He does that well. He can, when he tries to play, stop the halves. When he does, by the way, play a pass, ping a pass, he can do that. He doesn't do it often. He is not a box-to-box. He's not a 6. You watched him for England. He wasn't the deepest lying midfielder, and he shouldn't be the deepest lying midfielder for United. There was times in build-up, and this is in the first half in particular, Dallo would come central with Kobe. Casemiro would drop deep into the back. So there'll be 3 people. It'll be Licha here, it would be Casemiro here, Maguire here. In front of them, it would be Kobe and Dallo, right? Kobe needs to be more further up the pitch. That's my argument. Kobe needs to be more further up the pitch. Kobe, can I say, also looked exhausted come 80th minute. Saw it against Fulham as well. He looked exhausted. He's played I think they said this was his 24th Premier League start in a row for Manchester United. And I think in them 24 games, how many of them were full 90s he played? By the way, can I just say, and this is why I'm not buying the idea, can I say, I'm not buying it that Bruno got taken off today because of preseason. Because he hasn't had preseason. Because Kobbie Mainoo did not have preseason and has played 2 90s in a row. 2 90s in a row. Bruno Fernandes left the Euros, can I say? He left the Euros earlier than Kobbie, and they reported back the same time. Neither of them were part of preseason tour, and they both got shifted straight into the starting lineup for the Community Shield, and then straight into both Premier League games for the first 2 games of the season. But you're telling me Erik ten Hag is managing Bruno's minutes and he's not managing Kobbie's? I'm not buying that. I am not buying that at all. For me, Manchester United are obviously signing. We're obviously signing a midfielder. Ugarte might not be the complete answer to all our problems. He really might not be the complete answer to all our problems. I know you don't want to talk about this guy, so we're going to talk about him as well. Let me see what you lot are saying. Kobbie is a controller, but it's not mobile. We can't rely on someone like Zubi unless he's quick. Kobbie definitely needs to be rotated, as does Garnacho. Sancho played preseason, not picked. We're going to talk about Sancho because, Erik ten Hag spoke about him before the game. Either Erik ten Hag can't implement a system or his system ain't worth jack shite. Ugarte is a B-Tech Casemiro. Ouch. 19 years old getting abused. It's sad to see. Who's getting abused? Who's getting abused? Big up to Larry with the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Says, Ugarte is not the answer. We don't need another destroyer. We need a controller. Someone that can dictate play and the anchor of our build-up play. I 100% agree with you, Larry. I 100% agree with you. The question is, will Manchester United go ahead and sign an orchestrator, a controller, someone that can dictate the play from deep? Will Manchester United do that? Big up to Julian says, how can one player be an answer when we are still playing basketball football? What is that telling us? We need Pogba. Well, not the Pogba that is now, because obviously he's banned from football. But we need a player in the mold and the style of Paul Pogba. I 100% agree. Pogba was. If only we had Pogba now. If only we had Pogba now. Let's talk about this guy. What did you guys make of his performance today? Because I don't know. I feel like sometimes his passing is a bit higgy-haga. It's a bit higgy-haga. I don't know if you lot know what that means, but his passing sometimes is a bit frantic. It's a bit chaotic. It's a bit not what we were sold when we were getting him. If you lot know higgy-haga, you know what higgy-haga is. Risky. There you go. Risky is another term. It's just bare higgy-haga. It's just bare higgy-haga football. It's not the kind of higgy-haga football that I would like. But one thing I need to stop saying that term. But it is he gets the ball sometimes, and I am scared. I am scared when he gets the ball sometimes. I feel like him passing sometimes it's good, sometimes shit. Sometimes good, sometimes shit. It's the only way to you don't know what you're getting. When Onana gets the ball, guys, you don't know what you're gonna get. Are you gonna get a chaotic pass? Are you gonna get a good pass? Because there was that pass that he played to Dallo, and Dallo won the duel to put in that first time ball into Ahmad. Good pass. Then other times it's just hoof. Woof. I can't even describe it. I really can't describe it. And I've seen people saying, by the way, that he should have done better for both goals. I don't know if you lot realized. One goal, he was too far to the right. One goal, he was too far to the left. His positioning for the second goal. Let's look at his positioning for that goal. That's his positioning. Smack bang in the middle, right? But he's going more towards the left. If you watch the goal, this is a stationary picture, but you would see he's shifting more towards his left. And obviously Pedro goes to the keeper's right. I can't fault him for that. I really should. What should he do there? Do you expect him to come out and make himself wider? Like, what do you expect him to do? We should never be in this position, anyways. United should not be in this position because there shouldn't be 3 guys at the back post unmarked. Adingra had how many guys around him? 4. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Adingra has 4 players around him, and he still gets the pass off to João Pedro. This, to me, it looks like, you know what it looks like? It looks like Pythagoras' theorem. It looks like Pythagoras' theorem. On paper, the idea of the defensive shape makes sense. But in reality, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. What in the trigonometry? This is what I call Pythagoras' theorem. Sin, cos, tan. Sokotoa. If you lot don't know Pythagoras' theorem, how old are you guys? Because you would have learned that in maths GCSE. But Pythagoras' theorem, I always say, in theory, it sounds good to learn about it, but in reality, it makes no sense. Because when the hell am I going to use Pythagoras' theorem in real life? When the hell? And this is why I'm calling this Pythagoras' theorem. The idea of it makes sense, but the reality is bullshit. And that is literally my questioning for this. You got 4 guys on Adingra. You're telling me 30-something% of the outfield players are on 1 guy right now, right? And he still manages to get a pass. He still manages to get a pass. Not just get a pass, but an inch perfect pass. Not only a pass and an inch perfect pass, but he gets the assist with 4 guys around him. Manchester United, when it comes to resetting from set pieces, wallahi, there's a big problem. There is a big problem right there. There is a big problem. But let's talk about, I think, the biggest topic of discussion before the game started. Was Jadon Sancho going to be in the squad? That was the biggest conversation. Oh, shit, I missed... Oh, flip. Oh, my God. Guys, I forgot to do my Duolingo last night. And I had like a 36-day streak. I just got the notification on my phone. I hope I got a streak freeze. It took me long to get to 36 days. It took me so long. That's my longest streak as well. Anyway, sorry. Let's get back. I just got the notification from Duolingo. What language? I'm doing Arabic and Spanish. I'm doing Arabic and Spanish. What would I say in Arabic to describe this game? I might just end up saying something that is complete. Shar wa mumtaz. Shar wa mumtaz. The thing is, a lot of language, there's a lot of similarities in the Arabic language and my native language. There's quite a few similarities. So some words, I see it on Duolingo, I'm like, oh, I know what this is already because we say this in my language. Spanish is hard though, guys. Spanish is difficult. It's so difficult. But listen, let's not get sidetracked in it about Duolingo. Let's talk about Jadon Sancho because obviously this was the biggest topic of discussion coming into the game. Whether he would be part of not even the starting 11, but the matchday squad. We saw the article drop yesterday on The Athletic from Laurie Whitwell, providing some insight into the first game of the season. And Laurie Whitwell said in the article yesterday that, yes, Erik ten Hag left Sancho out because of an ear infection, but ultimately it wasn't that wasn't the full reason. And it was actually a decision, a tactical decision, etc., to leave him out. And then he spoke about Sancho's feelings about it after when he found out he was left, and he traveled with the team, but he didn't go and watch. He was at Manchester, he was pictured at Old Trafford at the game, but he wasn't with Tom Heaton, etc., and the rest of the players who are out injured that were watching the game. Today, a similar theme occurs. Match day, Brighton, team news drops, no Sancho in the starting 11 or on the bench. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck with everybody. I did not expect to see Sancho in the starting 11, but I did expect him to see him on the bench. Because what kind of disservice is it to the team not having another creative option on the bench? You can have someone like Anthony, you can have Garnacho, but having Sancho, that's a third option. That is a third option to have, and it's not a bad option. Anyways, Erik ten Hag was asked about it before the game. I want to bring up exactly what he said about why he was not in the squad. He basically just said it's a decision to leave him out. People have to work hard. Basically similar. He said, I had a choice to make. We've had some issues. We need a full squad, and he's one of them and needs to compete for his position. So that is what he said. He did travel with the team, but did not make it onto the bench. Now, I'm stunned. You know when you're stunned? Because to me, it's obvious Jadon Sancho wants to leave. It's so obvious that Jadon Sancho probably wants to leave. But another person who wants to leave and still gets to play is Scott McTominay. Now, let's take this back to nearly a year ago, guys. It was the 4th of September last year. Yeah? When Erik ten Hag came out and said what he said about Sancho after the Arsenal game. Yeah? After all of that, yeah? Him and Erik ten Hag reportedly make up. But let's go back to the making up thing, yeah? Let's go back to the making up thing, because I'm not buying it. It's a PR thing. They never made up. I don't think they ever made up. I think they came in. I think Ineos, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, or Dan Ashworth, Umar Barada, etc., made the decision to reintegrate him back into the team. Because why? You don't, then what happens? Whatever team that might want to buy him, the ball is in their court. They can decide the fee. That you've got a player that's not training with your team. He's not playing. You've exiled him out of the team. Someone comes and offers 15 million. They're going to feel like that's an acceptable amount because you guys have exiled him out of your team. You guys don't want him. You guys don't let him train with your senior team. You don't even let him eat in the canteen. Right? So I think this entire thing of them two making up, and this is how I know that it was bullshit. They didn't make up. It was just a decision from people more above Erik ten Hag. And maybe Erik ten Hag in some situations doesn't call the shots. But you know what he does call the shots in? The team, the starting 11, the match day squad. He calls those shots. And if he feels like he can turn around and say to Dan Ashworth, he can turn around and say to Jason Wilcox, he's not training hard enough. He's not working hard enough. These players are working harder than him. What are Jason Wilcox and them going to say? Okay, cool. They're going to say cool because they're not the people that see the training sessions day in, day out. They're going to trust Erik ten Hag's word, right? But to me, you can't look at another attacking option that you have in your squad and think you can't do with having him on the bench. I'm not saying Jadon Sancho has to start, but surely he's good enough to be on the bench. Surely he is good enough to. Surely if Marcus Rashford can start again and play 75 minutes of this game today, and how many minutes did he play last week? And you lot know me. I'm a believer in Rashford. I want him to succeed. I said he's scoring 25 goals in all competitions this season. Bro hasn't scored a goal yet. But I'm gonna stand on that. If Marcus Rashford can go through all of that and still have a spot in the team, I don't know what it is that Jadon Sancho has to do. And this is what I keep saying. This Jadon Sancho saga has gone on for too long. Please just sell him. It's very obvious that the manager doesn't want him. It's very obvious that the player doesn't want to be there. So why are we just holding on to it? And this is what happens, by the way, when United are holding out for this 40 million price tag. And I think Ridwan just said it here in the chat that Juve just signed a new player. Oh my God, they signed him. Shut up. Is that the Portuguese kid? Somebody mentioned him, I remember, on my stream earlier this season. From Porto or something. Conceição. Francisco Conceição. He plays for Portugal. Short guy, petite guy. They've signed him. His dad used to be a footballer as well, if I'm not wrong. His father used to be a footballer. I think his dad was called it was his dad Sergio Conceição? Something like that. Yeah. All right. But he's a right winger, to be honest. He's a right winger. So maybe his dad was a right winger. Maybe this is Sancho. The Sancho move ain't there anymore. Maybe the Sancho move is not there anymore. If I'm Sancho and I see Rashford walking around getting picked week in, week out, I understand his frustration. You know what I think it is, yeah? And let me ask you a lot of questions. Let me be devil's advocate and just ask you a lot of questions. You see what's happening with Chelsea, right? And you see what's happening with Man United. With the two managers, both of them clearly have players that they don't want. But Eric Ten Hag, I feel like, do you think Eric Ten Hag is going about it more in a snaky way rather than a more direct way? Because I'm not gonna lie, one thing I rate about Enzo Maresca, he's been very clear. He's saying, listen, if this player is not in my plans, they need to find a new club. Thiago Motta did it. What's his name did it? Luis Enrique has done it at PSG, right? When managers are more direct about where a player stands in your team, I think that is more respectful than anything else. Personally, I think that is way more respectful than anything else. However, on the flip side, that causes, what's it called? What's the word? It causes oh, you loser, man, get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Should I ban someone? Yeah, you're gone. You're gone. Anyways, back to the topic of conversation. But on the flip side, the way that Eric Ten Hag is doing all of this is he's doing it in a completely different manner. Doesn't matter what he says publicly. What would you prefer for Eric Ten Hag to do? Would you rather he goes about it in the manner that Enzo Maresca is going about it? Or would you rather he goes about it in the manner that he's doing it right now? Because I think either way, he wouldn't win. Personally, I feel like either way, he will not win. I think people would complain about if he did it the way Maresca did it. People will say, oh, he's hanging his players out to dry. And then if he continues to do it this way, people are going to be like, well, he's being snaky, he's being this, he's being that. I don't know. I feel like this Sancho saga has dragged on for near enough the best part of 12 months. Yeah? We're not that far off from hitting the 12-month mark. It is very clear that Eric Ten Hag has no plans for him in the future. It is very, very clear. I'm waiting to see if there's any confirmation about Mason Mount's injury. Yeah, people will come for him regardless. Yeah, I think either way they'll come for him. I think either way they will come for him. It's just a matter of you can't win. You really, really can't win every single time. Let me quickly I want to look at the ratings. I don't really like to go off of like FootMob ratings and SofaScore ratings, but just looking at this, right? This is why I think the game, like watching the game, is very important. Casemiro, I think, had a good game. I actually think Casemiro had a decent game. The fact that Leacher got a 6.1 rating versus Maguire getting a 6.7. Mount got a 5.8 rating. This is why I say I can't always go off of these kind of game ratings, because that's why watching the game is equally as important as looking at stuff like this after the game. Because you would look at this and think, raw, United had a stinker, 5.8. I think the only person's rating here that's accurate is probably Marcus Rashford. Obviously, Ahmad got a 7.5 because he scored. These are fan ratings. Okay, makes sense. If that is actually fan ratings, then that makes sense. Should we do player ratings? I don't like doing player ratings. I do not like doing player ratings. So we're not actually going to do it. Who would you say was United's best player? Before we wrap it up, who was United's best player today? I actually couldn't say, you know. I think Mazraoui dealt with Matoma pretty well. And I think Dalot dealt with Minter pretty well, given the fact that Dalot, for me, he had Veltman and Minter to deal with. He had two guys to deal with. You did player ratings last week. Okay, cool. I'll do player ratings then. All right, fine. We'll do player ratings. We'll start with Onana. I give him a 5. I think anyone in the defense. I'll give everyone in the defense a 6. I would give everyone in defense a 6. Maybe except for Maguire. I'm doing the whole defense together. I'm doing all 5 of those players together. I give all of them a 6. Maguire gets a 5 for me, just for that first goal. Equally, I think they should actually all get a 5 for that second goal. You lot are so harsh. You lot are saying Maguire 3. Yeah, with that last goal, yeah. Now I'm thinking back to that last goal. And I definitely think I think that's more reasonable. Who's next? Casemiro. I'll give Casemiro a 6. I actually think Casket had a good game. I think Cass had a good game. I think Maino had a good game, but for me, it's so obvious that Kobe needs a a player to be subbed in for him, because 75th, 80th minute, he looked tired. He looked so tired. What would you give Rashford? What would we give Rashford? Rashford for me is probably the lowest performing out of everyone. And that's also including the fact that Maguire and the defense stunk up the pitch for the second game. For the second goal, sorry. Marcus Rashford, for me, I'd give him a 4. I'd give him a 4. Couldn't stay on side. Couldn't keep the ball at his feet. Poor passes, poor movement. Everything was just bad. Everything about Rashford was bad. Not making runs in behind, not passing well, not getting back, not defending. 4 for me is the lowest that anyone will get. Mount 4. I wouldn't give Mount 4. I would not give Mount 4. What would you lot give Mount? What would you guys give Mount? I would give Mount. I would give him a 6. Is that harsh? Is that nice? Giving him a 6 when he only played 45 minutes? I think 6 is reasonable. But I'm only basing his performance off 45 minutes. But those 45 minutes, I think also him coming off, you realize what we missed when he came off. I don't know. Maybe 6 is nice. Maybe 5.5. For me, no one gets more than a 6. Guys, no one gets more than a 6.5 maybe. Ahmad for me is a 6. I'm giving Ahmad a 6 because I think he was actually struggling a lot before that goal. He was struggling a lot, and the reason why I said I give him a, what's it called, a pass, because we know what he's publicly dealing with. Why do you not keep gassing Mount? He was rubbish. Stop crediting structure to a player. I hear it. That's reasonable. What are we saying for Bruno? One thing that really bothers me about Bruno is the erratic passes. I think it was the first 10 minutes of the game, guys. I don't know if you guys remember. I think it was like first 10 minutes of the game. United were on a break. Switched the ball to Ahmad. And Mazraoui comes with the overlap, passes it to Mazraoui. Ahmad comes with the underlap. He gives it back to Ahmad. Bruno comes. He passes it to Bruno. First time cross. No one's even in the box. No one's even in the box. First time cross from Bruno. And I just thought, bro, why? That was such a good build-up. Why did you have to go and ruin it? You're just ruining it. Honestly, that's what he did. But I don't know what I'd give Bruno. Bruno 4. Bruno's the definition of erratic. Bruno is gash. Yeah, he is erratic. Erratic. For me, just here it is. We need to wrap this Bruno false 9 thing up. Yeah, that needs to end. I don't know why he didn't do that. If Bruno had laid it for Zexi, he scores. Am I the only person that thought Bruno went for goal? I thought that was a shot that just was going wide and Garnacho. Because if you simply just square it, it's like that Sterling chance, the Kane's chance for Sterling in 2018 in the World Cup. If you just square it, it's a goal. It is a goal. And I don't know why he didn't square it. Instead, United get a goal disallowed because he touches it when he's offside. It was a pass. I don't know. It looked like it was like a scuffed shot to me. Who else? Who came off? Who came on the bench? Zirkzee, Garnacho, De Ligt, McTominay. De Ligt was part of the second goal that United conceded, so I can't give him too much praise. Scott McTominay, he shouldn't have come on. Definitely not for Bruno. Garnacho, half. It's a half. It's very hard to. Let's talk about Zirkzee actually, because I think we actually haven't spoken about him. I actually think we ain't spoken about him. Let's talk about Zirkzee, guys. What did you not make of his performance today? Obviously, coming into the game, I saw this was the funniest tweet I saw. Someone said this is what Zirkzee's performance was like today. If you lot know this reference, do you guys know who Corbin Blue is? They said that Joshua Zirkzee wasn't playing today. It was Corbin Blue on the pitch. Obviously, people have been calling for Joshua Zirkzee to start after last week's game. I don't feel like he did much today. I think the link up was there, but maybe because I'm used to Rasmus Højlund bursting down the middle when United are on a counter, but he's not fast. That's one thing I realized today. He's not fast. And when I was watching him today, he obviously looks a lot bigger than what I thought he did. He's 6'4". He doesn't look like what I would think is a traditional striker, what a traditional striker looks like. But he's not fast. So in transition, you got Ahmad bursting on one wing, you got Garnacho bursting on the other wing, and you've got this guy just galloping through the middle like a horse, trying to get forward. He's not quick. He's not quick. I don't think he had a immediate impact like he did last week. But I just wonder, how do you best fit him into this team? And I think a lot of this, by the way, guys, a lot of this over the next couple, until transfer window closes and United's got their kind of solidified team, it's going to be like, how do we fit this person into the team? How do we fit in Xerxes? How do we fit in Mount? How do we fit in Bruno? How do we fit in Ahmad? If we get Ugarte, how do we fit in Ugarte? That is going to be a lot of the topic of discussion over the next week or so, because we're going to go away to Liverpool next week. We're going to play home, to Liverpool next week. Old Trafford, 4:00 kickoff on Sunday. And if Erik ten Hag reverts back to a low block against Liverpool at home, is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Mina, because you play chaotic football, he's a possession-based player. Is Erik ten Hag not a possession-based coach? Is he not a possession-style coach? Is that not what he specializes in? That's what I don't understand. That's honestly what I don't get. Isn't that meant to be his speciality? We are already in panic mode when he came on. That's true. That's true. Bruno false 9 didn't work last game or today. Bruno false 9 is not it. It's not it. Bruno is not a false 9. What I don't get also is this notion that he's Xerxes is not a 9, but he's also not a lone striker, right? Okay, cool. Why buy him then? Why buy him then in that case? If you're telling me that Xerxes thrives in possession, you're telling me Ahmad thrives in possession, you're telling me that Bruno thrives in if all of these players are thriving in a possession system, why are we not playing possession system? Why does it look like we're playing ping passing, like quick 1-2 passes and just transition ball? Even when United have the ball and they have possession over a course of time, it just feels like we are trying to find that one kind of pass to play quick transition and get a chance from that. And you saw it in the best chance of the first half, which was a chance that landed to Amad Diallo. I wish he took it on his right foot, but he's not really got a right foot, so I know why he took it on his left foot. But that is what you call, to me, an example of quick transition football. A pass from the keeper straight over the top to Dalot, who's playing left wing at this point, and a first time pass from Ahmad. 2 passes to get the ball into the opponent's half. 2 passes it took. That is what you call, for me, transition system. And maybe that's what we're going to play with under Erik ten Hag. Maybe that will really be what we play with under Erik ten Hag. But let me know, guys, United side, who was man of the match? If we were to give a man of the match or the best player for United, who would you say it was? Because I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't tell you who was the best player for Manchester United. Should I say Dalot? Maybe Dalot. I can't think of anybody. You lot are saying no one. Leacher looked a bit out of place once or twice during the game. Ahmad for me was not. Ahmad got the goal, but Ahmad was not it today, and rightfully so. We know what's happening in his personal life. Mizraoui for the defense and assist. I think Mizraoui did okay against Mitoma, by the way. A lot of people were saying, Mizraoui got a big test against Mitoma. And I was telling everyone, the test isn't Mizraoui versus Mitoma. The test is Dalot versus Minter. We're giving out man of the matches and losses. It's not man of the match. I'm saying who was United's best player. We ain't giving man of the match. Unfortunately, I ain't got an award to give them. But hopefully we can find something new. We can find some new inspiration for Liverpool next week, because that is a big one. And I hate playing 12:30 on Saturday, can I say, guys, because it's just, my weekend's ruined if United lose. Now it's going to be a long weekend. I can't even hate on Arsenal versus Villa today. I can't even hate in that game because we just lost and dropped 3 points. And these are the 3 points you'll look back at in the latter stages of the season and think, that would have made a difference for United. We might have been in a different place. But anyways, man, you lot know what it is. Listen, guys, be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. We got a big week ahead of us, the last week of the transfer window. And with this loss, United might start making moves. They might start getting the deals over the line. We might see Ugarte coming in. I don't think Ugarte is fully the answer to what United need in midfield, but we'll see. Maybe United might bring in a lone player, a lone fullback, a lone striker. I don't know. We got to see, but you don't know what it is. Listen, Mina's state of mind. Episode 2. We got 1 win, 1 loss so far. 3 points so far in the bag for United out of a possible 6. And then we got a big one against Liverpool next week. But you don't know what it is. Listen, I'll be back tomorrow with the daily dose of Mina, inshallah, God willing. Of course, if there is any news this evening, tomorrow morning, etc., I will be live. But you know what it is, man. Daily streams here on the channel. Road to 6K. Listen, we ain't even that far off. Let me see how far off we are. We are less than 60 away from 6K, which we can definitely get there before the transfer deadline window. You don't know what it is. Be sure to hit the like button. Be sure to subscribe. Don't dwell too much, man. Enjoy your weekend, guys. It's just football, isn't it? It's just football. But anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening, afternoon, whatever you lot get up to. And I'll be back tomorrow, inshallah, God willing. I'm out, guys, man. Have a good one. Peace.